You notice, like, yo, a jury of his peers. A jury did it. A jury did it. I've heard that excuse before. Emmett Till, young man beaten to death all the way back in the 1950s. What did he do? He said hello to a white woman, something like that. And an all-white mob beat him to death. And 3 people, I believe, were arrested. And the jury said, we don't see no problem here, and let him go, right? A jury of the accuser's peers found nothing to see here. So a jury, I'm told, gets it wrong sometimes. Seems to be a lot of people who think that a lot of murderers were let free that day. All right, so we've seen this before.
Just disgusting, just disgusting. But over the years, Trump and his allies and supporters have made some truly insane comparisons between historic figures and Donald Trump, whether that's Lincoln, Elvis, Nelson Mandela, and even Jesus himself. But this was by far the most vile. And it's insane that we have to relitigate Till's murder in 2024 because it should be obvious there is no comparison. But in the Till trial, the most dramatic testimony came from some unlikely heroes. 2 sharecroppers who were threatened with death if they testified, Moses Wright, Emmett's great uncle, was the prosecution's best eyewitness. He stood up in court and pointed out Uhl and Bryant as the men who came to his home and took Emmett at gunpoint. Willie Reed, an 18-year-old sharecropper, testified that he heard beatings and screaming coming from the Uhl family shed. Trump called all of 2 witnesses for his defense, a paralegal who entered phone records into evidence, and Trump attorney Robert Costello. So Till's trial had witnesses that could undoubtedly prove the guilt of the defendants, and Trump barely offered a defense at all. For his closing summation, defense attorney Sidney Carlton told the all-white, all-male jury that if they didn't free Uhl and Bryant, Till's killers, your ancestors will turn over in their grave, and I'm sure every last Anglo-Saxon one of you has the courage to free these men. After deliberating for only 67 minutes, the jury returned a verdict, not guilty. Reporters said they overheard laughing inside the jury room. One juror later said, "We wouldn't have taken so long if we hadn't stopped to drink pop." There's more, but we're pressed for time. Brett, what do you make of this comparison? Greg Kelly's always saying something really crazy, truly deranged, but is this the worst thing he said? And is this the worst comparison to Trump?
If it is the worst thing he said, I bet he'll top it soon, because that's the point. All they're doing is the Notice Me Olympics for Donald Trump. And they have already mortgaged their integrity and pride when they went to Newsmax, when they went to right-wing media, like Right Side News Network or whatever it is, because they know that there is the only thing that will motivate you to be even more racist than you outwardly were before is when you get that whiff of unemployment. As a person who thrives when the camera's on you. It happened to Tucker Carlson when he got embarrassed on CNN and then fired. He decided at that moment, I'm gonna be the worst person possible to keep a job. And that's what Greg Kelly does. He even has all the mannerisms of Trump. He's just doing an impression in the most depraved version of what would Trumpy do.
Yeah. It's just disgusting, and it seems deliberate for attention, for clippings, and right now they're begging for money. So it seems like it's all part of a bigger plan.
When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?